Hey guys, Bowler here, and welcome back by popular demand. Here is one more tip for every character in the game. Now I do want to preface by saying some of these tips are aimed towards more newer players, but there are a fair amount of things for even more experienced players that can be learned from this video. Without further ado, let's get right into the tips. It's not very well known, but you can actually angle Mario's up B slightly. Holding back when you do your up B allows you to get more height for less range, which you can see on this platform on WarioWare, while holding away can get you less height but more range, making it so you can get closer to the ledge. The difference is definitely noticeable, but not huge, so it can save you in a desperate situation. With Luigi, normally you can only use Cyclone once in order to recover, because the second time you use it, you won't be able to mash to get extra height. However, by using grounded Cyclone and then going off stage, you can get an extremely far off and surprising edgeguard that can definitely get your opponent off guard. And then you can use your down B again in the air and still be able to match for extra height, allowing you to recover from those far out areas. Typically with Peach, when you throw your turnip at someone, it hits them away, making it harder to combo off of. However, by doing a reverse throw, thanks to the addition of glide tossing, you can throw your turnip in the same direction as before, but it actually hits them towards you, allowing you to start a combo off of it, making it a much better combo tool. Somehow I forgot to mention this in my last video, so like I've said before, Bowser's taunt has a win boss, which by itself is pretty useful in some specific situations. But if you actually shield break your opponent, which is pretty easy to do with Bowser's up B, you can use your taunt to blow the opponent off stage and kill them. Because while the animation doesn't play in the air, the opponent is still shield broken and can't act out even in the air, making them just fall to their death. Yoshi can perform a really cool pseudo wave dash on platforms with his up B. By getting just the right height, you can do an extended slide on a platform and keep your momentum for a pseudo wave dash. This can also be done on stages without platforms, but I found it most useful on stages with large platforms like Sky Sanctuary Zone or Dreamland. Now, this isn't the most useful tip in the world, but a surprisingly lesser known trait about Wario's side B. The way it works is that the longer the move stays out, the more knockback it actually deals. So if your opponent's at a high percent and you hit him at the end of your side B, it'll kill much earlier compared to the very start of the side B, which doesn't have much KO power. It's a pretty basic tip for most DK mains, but for some reason I've found a good amount of people who just straight up don't know that DK's side B in the air can also be used as a spike. While it's not too optimal, it can definitely be useful. People often forget about one of the most basic things about Link, and it's the fact that he has a shield that blocks almost every projectile in the game, besides a few weird cases. This thing can block Rasen, Shuriken, and even Charge Shot. You just have to be either crouched or in your idle animation. Zelda's down B actually moves you up a whole tier on the tier list. No, but really, Zelda has an amazing jab. Honestly, one of the best in the game. And one of the best parts about this jab is that on almost every character, you can get a guaranteed grab off of it around 0 to 120%. Setting up for a low percent combo or a high percent edgeguard situation. You can use Sheik's grounded up B in a pretty weird way to get a sort of momentum boost off of platforms. To do this, you simply up B on the ground and then onto a platform and then hold a direction. It's a pretty neat tech that can give you a cool movement option and a good mix-up in right situations. Normally with Pikachu's up B, you can't go in the same direction twice. Well, that's the case for most of the time, except for this tip. If you're on the ground with Pikachu, you can use your up B downwards into the ground, which will move you forward in the direction you're facing. Then you can do it a second time and you'll go in the same direction. It's Pikachu's fastest rushdown tool and a really good way to surprise your opponent. I don't see it used nearly enough. Somehow I forgot to mention this in my last tips video, but with Jigglypuff, you can go over double the distance that Pound travels by doing it right before landing on the stage, allowing you to do a sort of Pound slide, which can definitely come in handy with getting those long range snipes. If you're playing on a platform stage with Falcon, you can do your grounded side B on platforms, and it'll ledge cancel off the platform and give you a forward boost. This gives you almost no end lag, allowing you to get some pretty good setups or surprise attacks. Be careful though, if you mess up and go off stage, you'll fall into free fall and then die. This is a pretty situational tip, but I thought it'd be worth mentioning since it's not very well known at all. Normally, Game & Watch cannot bucket Link's arrows or Link's bombs by themselves. However, you can actually bucket Link's bomb arrows if they're combined together. A pretty strange thing, but could come in handy. Isaac has some pretty good advanced tech, one of them being his extended side B, or his hand tech, which, like it sounds like, makes your side B travel much further than normal. I'd like to shout out Doc, who made a great video on this tech. He's a smaller SSF2 YouTube channel that makes great content. If you want to check out a full, in-depth view on this tech, I recommend checking his video in the description below. It's a very complicated tech, but incredibly important for Isaac players. Again, this is a pretty situational thing, but Chibi's down B is by far one of the buggiest and strangest moves in the game. You can pocket moves such as Isaac's down B, up B, as well as Goku's Kamehameha. But when you try and use it, it won't quite work as intended, so it's only really defensive. Typically when you use Ness's up B, he's very vulnerable because of how laggy it can be on miss. However, you can actually cancel the move by pressing shield at any time during the travel. It's incredibly important when recovering with Ness, since you can up B, then shield, and then up B again, mixing up your opponent's edge guarding timing, giving you another option. You can also do it on stage for a safer projectile since you can shield right after and stop your end lag. With ZSS, you can change the direction of your second half of the down B midway through the down B by pressing left or right for a slight mix-up. But of course, ZSS's down B isn't the best in beta, so it's more than situational. I've talked a fair amount about this tech in a separate video full of going in depth about the tech, but Samus has one of my favorite advanced techs in the entire game, called a bomb float. To do it, you time a shield at the same time as your down B's explosion, and it allows for some crazy properties like the ones on screen. For a full in-depth explanation, I'll leave a video in the description below since it does take a lot of practice. When recovering with Pit, if you want to get maximum horizontal distance, you should side B first and then use your up B since your side B does not put you in free fall. Of course, put your jumps in there too to get maximum distance. Just make sure you're not too low when you do your side B or you'll fall and die. And the best tip for Marth is simply use the tip. Nah, I'm just kidding. Here's a really cool kill confirm for Marth players who have trouble securing kills at higher percents without getting those random F smashes. By getting the single hit only of your neutral air, you can get a guaranteed combo into your up smash for an incredible kill confirm. This works better the higher the percent of your opponent, so if they're around 100 to 200%, it's a great way to secure a kill. The hardest part of the tech is definitely getting the single hit of the Nair, so take some practice. This is a pretty weird tech that me and Shady found in the Falco Ditto. For some reason, reflectors don't normally reflect the other Falco's laser. That is, unless you hit them right in the forehead. For some reason in the Ditto, the lasers only reflect when you hit them in the head, so it's not much of a tip, but more of a warning that you should avoid hitting the other reflector in the head, just to make sure you never get the laser hit back at you. Fox's F-throw is definitely one of his best throws, and a lot of people don't know that Fox can actually chain grab his F-throw into each other at early percents, allowing for a fairly good chain grab with those early percents on most characters. Bandana D has a pretty interesting trait with his up throw. If you use his up throw right before going off a ledge, you continue the animation as you're falling. It's a pretty neat trick, and on most fast followers with your multiple jumps, you can set up for a nice edge guard. I don't really have much when it comes to Meta Knight since I don't really play him and I don't know any people who solo main him in beta, but for anyone who's new to Meta Knight, he has the strongest up throw in the game. So if your opponent's at those higher percents, it could be a solid way to get that kill. Here's one of my favorite little known facts about one of my favorite Kirby power-ups. Ordinarily, when Donkey Kong uses his giant punch, it gives him super armor when you fully charge it, meaning you can't be hit out of the animation, but that's only when you fully charge it with DK. However, Kirby's giant punch gives you super armor no matter how much charged up it is. This is super underrated. The DK Kirby matchup can be completely changed by this one factor. It's also a great way to edgeguard DK since you can take those hits of his up B and still hit him off stage. With Sonic, if you want to try and mix up the timing of your spin dash to bait out your opponent's shield option, you can continue charging your spin dash by mashing the special button. Just make sure you mash really quick, the timing is very strict. Tails has a really strange property with his up B, and it's the fact that it can actually go through any stage. If you go below the stage and then throw your up B, it can actually catch your opponent off guard through the stage. And if you're trying to recover or get off the ledge, it's a great option to surprise your opponent. Most people think of Black Mage's neutral B as discount witch time, which it kinda is. But it also acts as a way to reflect projectiles, which most people don't know. So let's say you're charging it up and someone throws a charge shot your way. If you release it, you can shoot that charge shot right back at Samus. Just be careful though, it has a good amount of starting lag, so it takes some timing practice. Sora has a pretty cool technique using his flow motion. If you start a flow motion, you can cancel it into any other type of flow motion after the initial start. So for example, if you start a flow motion up, you can cancel it into a flow motion down by pressing down. This allows for some crazy setups. It's one of the least explored areas of Sora's kit. So hopefully you Sora mains out there can get some use out of it. This isn't the most useful tip, but a pretty neat fact that most people don't know about Mega Man. During your up B as Mega Man, you can press the special button to shoot more pellets while going up without canceling your up B. Normally when you do any attack out of your up B, it cancels it. I only recently found out about this tech, but Pac-Man has some really weird recovery techs on stages with walls like Yoshi's Story and Tower of Salvation. Basically, if you're against the wall and you use side B upwards, you can actually hit the wall at the end of your side B and then reset your side B. This resets your side B, meaning you can do it again, which lets you recover from basically anywhere with side B, and you can do as many mix-ups as you want since you can keep doing it basically, well, forever. I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to Lloyd. I'd even go as far as to say he's my least played character. So this tip comes from one of the best Lloyd players who definitely knows him more than I do. If you press dash and then up B at the same time, you get the sort of up B that pushes him forward very fast, similar to 9B Tails. This can be somewhat useful for some surprise attacks and can definitely be useful for baiting out reactions like shield grabs. Bomberman has some pretty neat setups on stages where you can go underneath the stage, in which you throw the bomb into the stage while touching it, which lets you place the bomb basically in the stage like this. This is insanely good and it lets you set up for some really cool ledge traps or just edge guarding techniques, and it's definitely one of the better techs that Bomberman has. This isn't really the most practical tech in the game, but Ichigo has a really cool and unique down smash. Because, well, it allows you to do some sort of falling down smash techniques by performing a down smash right before you go off of a ledge, letting you surprise your opponent with a down smash. Although be careful, because if you do it off the stage you will kill yourself, but you can surprise your opponent on platform stages from coming down from above. While it may seem obvious for some experienced Naruto players, Naruto actually has 2 different up Bs, which is a huge factor for recovering with Naruto. Being able to mix it up is really important since Naruto has a pretty easy to edge guard recovery. Normally with Naruto's up B, you go right into free fall after it. But if you press special again mid up B, you can actually stop in the air and then do an attack, which can hit your opponent away or mess up their edge guarding timing. If you're having trouble setting up kills with Luffy, you can use your side B to set up for a 50-50 situation, where you can either get an up air if they DI in, or a forward air spike if they DI out. Personally, I also recommend doing your aerial side B because it gives you less end lag compared to your grounded one when you reach your opponent, making it so you can convert easier. Goku has a pretty situational but potentially really useful technique with Kaioken. Typically, Kaioken is only a temporary power boost, which has a set time limit before running out. However, you can refresh the time limit by hitting the opponent or getting hit, but there's another way around this called the infinite Kaioken glitch. Now, the name makes it sound much stronger than it really is, but it is somewhat useful. To do this, you simply continue using the attack basically forever. So in this example, I'm down smashing with Kaioken, which is a much stronger down smash than his regular one, and if I keep doing it, I will keep Kaioken, well, forever. If you stop attacking, it'll go away, and you do continue taking percent, so it's a pretty big risk. But if you're trying to edge guard someone, it could be useful in the right situation. If you're really far off stage with Sandbag, you don't want to take the extra percent from your up B, you can of course use your down B upwards. But it's not always well known that your up B actually resets your down B. So for maximum distance with minimizing percent taken, you can do down B up, then up B, and then down B up again, which at low percents gives you the most amount of height for the least amount of percent taken. Anyways, that's about it for this video. I know some of the tips aren't as good as other ones, but I wanted to share some really cool tips I've learned so far in this update before the new update comes out. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me you guys' cool secrets or tricks in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching.